Very good morning to everyone. So today I'll be doing the analysis of the Hindu newspaper dated 9th of October. Okay. Okay, so we all are aware of the issue that is taking place in Israel and Gaza Strip. So this is a big analysis. I will do this by the end if I'll get time. Otherwise, there will be a detailed analysis about it in a different video altogether. Fine. So let's just wait and see what else is happening here. Um, I'll tell you about it, but at the end of the other analysis. So first, let me cover all the other ones. Now, if you see here, it is that Israel Gaza war thousand dead, thousands displaced. Now, if you see when Russia Ukraine war was happening, then also the issue of migration was there. Again, the war here in Israel and Gaza Strip, the issue of migration is there. Fine. So just have go through here like what how many displaced people are there, what is the demolished structure, or what is the graph showing you. For example, in 2016 when it happened, it was at the peak, what the structures were demolished. Now in 2023 it is close to 748 structure, which we are currently witness to. So a little bit idea about this, what is the displacement of the people. Now, the next thing here it is, what caused the flood in Sikkim? Now, if you see, more than 25 people have been confirmed dead and many more are missing from the massive flood that resulted from a glacial lake outburst in Sikkim. So, what is happening is the voluminous outflow has destroyed the dam, Chuping Dam, which is critical to Tista 3 hydropower project and rendered several hydropower projects along the river dysfunctional. So, if there is outburst of flood, what is happening is that there will be voluminous flow of water, and this is affecting your hydropower projects. Now, further moving here, what is a glacier lake outburst? So, technically called a glacier lake outburst flood, there are instances of large lakes formed from the melting of glaciers suddenly breaking free, or the moraines, that is natural dams that are formed from rocks, sediments, and other debris. So, what they are saying is, what is the cause of your glacier lake outburst flood? So this is happening because of melting of glaciers. Then there is breaking of moraines. And what are your moraines? Then these are your natural dams. And what are natural dams? Now, dams or the structures that are formed from natural material, that is your rocks, sediments, and other debris. Fine. Now, the South Lona Glacier, located in North Sikkim, is reportedly one of the fastest retreating glaciers. The glacier receded nearly 2 kilometers in 46 years from 1962 to 2008. Now, it further retreated by 400 meters from 208 to 2019. Now, what is happening is that, according to one report, the Juneral Nature counts the 1926 Jammu and Kashmir Dillarsh, the 1981 Kinnaur Valley floods in Himachal Pradesh, 2013 Kedarnath outburst in Uttarakhand are examples of glacier lake outburst flood that resulted into disaster. Now, among the Himalayan states in India, Sikkim has about 80 glaciers, like more than any other state. So, Sikkim is having how many glaciers? That is 80 glaciers. Just a minute. Okay. Sikkim having 80 glaciers, and this much glaciers are more than any other state. Over the years, what is happening is climatologists have warned that they could be responsible for lake outbursts. That means these glaciers that are present in Sikkim are responsible for lake outbursts. Now, what triggered the Sikkim Glacier Lake outburst flood event? So, there is uncertainty on this point. Satellite images from the National Remote Sensing Center's ISRO suggest around 105 hectares of glacier-fed lake had been drained out. This was comparing images. Now, what they want to say is that satellite images don't reveal the depth of the lake. Calculating the volume of the water in the lake is challenging without physically visiting. And according to the Kalachand Singh, now, this person is studying the Himalayan geology. The Central Water Commission reports that water levels surged nearly 60 feet above the maximum level. So, there is a 60 feet above level of water surge. The National Disaster Management Authority reports that the primary reason for sudden surge appears to be a likely combination of excess rainfall and glacier lake outburst flood events. The lake is at a height of 5,200 meters with a towering ice-capped feature. Now, there is a speculation that heavy rainfall might have tipped the marine to collapse and trigger the flood. So, now these are speculations that what is happening is that heavy rainfall. Just a second. Okay, so there is a speculation that heavy rainfall might have tipped the marine to collapse and trigger the flood. So these heavy rainfall have triggered flood. But meteorological records don't reveal any evidence of such heavy rain. So there was heavy rain in South Sikkim, but nothing remarkable in the northern region. Now, what they are trying to say that see, even though heavy rainfall has been there in certain regions, but it is because of collapsing of the marines. that has triggered what? Your glacial lake outburst flood. So now here they say that what was the resulting damage? The most visible consequence of flooding was the destruction of the Chungtung Dam. So first thing is that there is destruction of Chungtung Dam that is being witnessed. Though not a storage of dam, it directs water to power the Tista 3 hydropower project. So that means the water that was coming from this dam was the main source of uh, hydropower project that was coming from Tista 3. ठीक है, Tista 3 hydropower project. Now, the what are senior officials or of the opinion? They say that the dam is significantly damaged and the quantity of the silt and water present made it difficult to estimate the extent of the damage. That means the damage was severe, but the extent of the damage couldn't be witnessed because of excess amount of silt and water being present. Fine. Now, what else? The National Hydropower Corporation, or what are they saying? That all the bridges downstream to Tista 5 hydropower station were submerged or washed out, disrupting the communication. So the flood water overtapped the dams of Tista 5 power station. So all connecting a road to the project sites as well as parts of the residential colony. Now, what is happening is the major issue that is being faced, the major issue that is being faced is substantially because of inability to counter the hydro power project. That means, see, what is happening is these hydropower projects are running. Now, if you are having constant floods, so what is going to happen? These hydropower projects are disrupted. So when this is disrupted, these hydropower projects, what is going to happen? It is an excessive loss. So this loss couldn't be or should couldn't be borne by the government. And more than that, what is happening is loss of life as well. Now, what two studies say that are these events, likely to happen in the future? So, such events or several studies have over the year warned of the risk from the glacial lake outburst flood events from the Himalayas. Both the frequency and the severity of such events are going to increase exponentially in the future. So the Himalayan ecosystem is the most fragile in the world, and any disruption in the way we are managing these resources will have a problematic outcome for the people of the region. So what is happening? Rising temperature are leading to a wetter future and contributing to climate change led to extreme events, but it is also disturbing the fragility of the Himalayan ecosystem through hydropower and other dams. Now, glacial lake outburst flood is an outcome of warming of the regions, and this has been a major risk for the region. So what is happening is that while the Tista River is a source of hydropower station for several power projects, the risk of glacial lake outburst floods like events require greater care in planning, executing dams and other infrastructure projects. Early warning systems are implementable. Why? Because a coordinated approach will lead to what? Now, these will make the multiple agencies promptly sharing satellite images, etc., so that these events in the future could be countered. Unlike an earthquake, that is glacial lake outburst flood events can be anticipated and monitored changes could also be done. with respect to the size of lakes, but this requires greater coordination. So the author is of the opinion that yes, prediction of glacial lake outburst flood can be done, and once the events are predicted, work can be done in order to counter them. So this is only possible if there is a better coordination between the agencies and the respective authorities. Okay, so this becomes important for you with respect to disaster management and also with respect to your geography section. So you can know what is flood, how are they caused, what is the difference between glacial lake outburst flood. Sikkim is having the most number of glaciers, which dam is probably the most fragile when the glacial lake outburst flood happened, and that is Yojna Dam. Fine. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next news says how the Digital India Act will shape the future of the country's cyber landscape. Now, see, this act is very important. Why? Because every country is shifting towards what and getting entirely digital, and in the process, India has also done the similar kind of work. So when the country is in the process of digitization, you need to safeguard the data. That means you need to safeguard the data with respect to cyber security, etc. So how is this possible? So for that reason, we have brought what Digital India Act that will shape the future of the country's cyber landscape. Now, nations worldwide are grappling with the need to update their legal frameworks to adapt to the evolving digital landscape. India, with its ambition, what is the ambition? That is Digital India Initiative. The recent announcement of Digital India Act 2023 represents a significant step towards establishing a future-ready legal framework for the country's burgeoning digital ecosystem. This move by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology signals a proactive approach to regulating and shaping the digital future of the nation. So, what is happening? Moving with the times. Now, the Digital India Act goes to replace the 2 decade old Information Technology Act. So, what? Just a minute. What is happening is your Digital India Act is replacing your Information Technology Act 2000. Fine, and this Digital India Act replaces the old Information Technology Act, is designed to address the challenges and opportunities that are presented by the dramatic growth of the internet and emerging technologies. So the reason why they are replacing this Information Technology Act 2000 by Digital India Act, because they want to do what? They want to address the challenges. And what are these challenges? These challenges are um, challenges and the opportunities presented by the dramatic growth of internet and the emerging technology. So any kind of challenge, or for that matter your opportunities, with respect to what? With respect to your internet and the technology section. The primary motivation behind Digital India Act is to bring India's regulatory landscape in synchronous with the digital revolution of the 21st century. The IT Act of 2000, crafted during a time when internet was in infancy, has struggled to keep pace with the rapid changes in technology and user behavior. Since its inception, India's internet user base has exploded from a mere 5.5 million to a staggering 850 million. So if you see, the numbers are also of concern. That means initially it was 5.5 million users, and now the number has reached to a staggering 850 million. The nature of internet usage has also evolved with the emergence of various intermediaries and the proliferation of new forms of user harm such as cyberstalking, trolling, and doxing. That means the kind of issue we are facing is your trolling, cybersecurity, and doxing. Digital India Act recognizes these changes and aims to provide a comprehensive legal framework to address them. Now, what are the key provisions of DIA? The key provisions encompasses what several pivotal clauses that mirrors the dynamic evolution of the digital environment, addressing the multifaceted challenges and opportunities. Now, these provisions underscore the legislation's responsiveness to the ever-changing digital landscape. The proposed DIA encompasses a spectrum of significant provisions aimed at addressing the ever-evolving digital landscape. Now, what is happening is, firstly, it places a strong emphasis on online safety and trust with a commitment to safeguarding citizens' rights in the digital realm while remaining adaptable to shifting market dynamics and international legal principles. Now, what they're saying is that the emphasis should be on online safety and trust. And what is that with respect to the commitment to safeguard citizens' rights? So, firstly, the key provisions with respect to your Digital India Act is safeguarding what the citizens' right in digital realm while remaining adapted to shifting market dynamics. That means your market is evolving. When your market is evolving with time, you have to change with time. So while you're changing with time, you're not compromising with the citizens' rights. So safeguarding citizens' right, but not compromising with digital or not compromising with market dynamics. Fine. Now, secondly, first provision is this. Secondly, recognizing the growing importance of new age technology such as artificial intelligence and blockchain. The Digital India Act provides guidelines for the responsible utilization. Through this, it aims to not only encourage the adoption of these technologies but also to ensure that their deployment is in line with ethical and legal principles. So, the next thing that is important is it should be within the ethical and legal lines. Fine. So the one of the key provision is that the technology should be used so that there is no shift or change in the ethical and legal principle. This means that Digital India Act does not just leave it to the market to dictate the course of these technology, but actively engages in shaping their development and use within a regulatory framework. So by doing so, what is happening is Digital India Act strikes a balance between fostering innovation and safeguarding potential harm. So that means you are also ensuring innovation. You are working for innovation and at the same time safeguarding potential harms. Fine. It promotes ethical AI practices, data privacy in blockchain application. That means data privacy is also taken in control or in reference to. So data privacy uh, yeah. So it promotes AI practices ethical AI practices, data privacy in blockchain application and mechanism for accountability in the use of these technologies. So, data privacy, ethical AI practices, and also accountability. Now, this forward-looking stance is not only beneficial for citizens and businesses, but also positions India as a responsible player in the global technology landscape, ready to harness the full potential of new age technologies while mitigating the associated risk. That means that if you see, as the things are evolving, there is new technologies that are coming. So while new technologies are coming, you have to change yourself with the market dynamics. Now, when you are changing yourself with the market, what need to be done is that you need to keep into viewpoint what that you should be using these technology responsibly, and also the new age technologies should be used to full potential while mitigating the associated risk. So next is that you should focus on the technologies with respect to citizens and businesses benefits. You should also be using these technology responsibly. So responsible use of and other than that, also working towards the use of new age technology by mitigating the risk. Uh, Thirdly, it upholds the concept of open internet, striking a balance between accessibility and necessary regulations to maintain order and protect users. Additionally, the Digital India Act mandates stringent know your customer requirements for wearable devices accompanied by criminal law sanctions. That means what they are talking about is KYC should be there. Now, why KYC? Because this is very important so as to counter forgeries. Lastly, it contemplates a review of safe harbor principle, which presently shields online platform from liability related to user-generated content, indicating a potential shift in online accountability standards. Now, these provisions underscore the proposed Digital India Act commitment in addressing the complexities of the digital. Now, what is the myriad challenges that is happening or that is going to come with Digital India Act? Because if something new is going to come, there's no doubt about it that various challenges will also be witnessed. So we need to know about various challenges. So let's talk about the various challenges coming on the way. Okay. Now, what are the myriad of challenges? While the introduction of the Digital India Act is a commendable step towards addressing the challenges of the digital age, there are certain aspects that warrant a critical evaluation. One key concern is the potential impact on innovation and ease of doing business. Stricter regulations, particularly in emerging technologies, could inadvertently stifle entrepreneurial initiatives and deter foreign investments. The review of the safe harbor principle, which shields online platform from liability for user-generated content, could lead to a more cautious approach among these platforms, possibly impinging on freedom of expression. So, your freedom of expression goes on to threat when by using your safe harbor principle. You should very correctly talk about the safe harbor principles. Furthermore, the Digital India Act success hinges on effective enforcement, which will require substantial resources, expertise, and infrastructure, balancing the interests of various stakeholders, including tech giants, while ensuring the protection of citizens' rights. Now, this poses a significant challenge. Therefore, Digital India Act is a progressive move. Its implementation and the potential repercussions warrant vigilant monitoring and adaptability to avoid unintended consequences. The Digital India Act is a crucial step towards ensuring a secure, accountable, and innovative digital future for India. It represents a forward looking approach to regulation in an age of constant change and has the potential to shape the country's digital landscape for generations to come. As consultations continue, it will be interesting to see how this proposed legislation evolves and plays out in dynamic digital arena. So what is happening is that the need of Digital India Act is why? Because you are in an age of change, and when things are shaping, so it is that this Digital India Act has the potential to shape this Digital India Act has potential to shape digital landscape. And for what? Because digital landscape, because generations are going to come with such digital scenarios and changes. So now what is going to happen here is, with respect to this, you need to find or frame a regulations and legislations. Why? Because this is, see, we are in the age of change, and we are in the this arena of changing time. So what is going to happen now? This is potentially going to lead to what? This is going to lead to evolution, and for this evolution we need to have a good legislation. And why good legislation? Now see, this Digital India Act is brought to replace your Information Technology Act, and this act was in back 2000, and this Digital India Act is introduced when 2023. So if you see the time log, there is a huge difference, right? So once you are having an act, it should have the potential to counter any issues arising in the future. So based on that, a better framing of law is done. Fine. Okay. Now this was about the Digital India Act. Okay, so let's come on to the next news, and this news is on your paper, that is on your screens. Indian Air Force unveils new ensign as it marks its 91st anniversary. Now, what is happening is, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal, on Sunday unveiled a new ensign for the force as it marked its 91st anniversary by the inclusion of the Air Force. Now, this year, the Air Force Day Parade was held at Prague. Now, the air display held in the afternoon on the banks of the river. So, what happened? One, in a first scaling up the degree of difficulty by by a couple of notches, the Sun helicopter displays team has gone from a 4 helicopter to 5 helicopter military display team. So another first, the newly inducted C-295 transport aircraft made its maiden appearance, while the legacy of MiG-21 Bison made what is likely its last appearance in an air display. Now we have not only circumvented challenges, circumvented challenges. Just a minute. Okay. MiG-21 Bison made it likely its last appearance in an air display prior to the planned phase. Now we have not only circumvented challenges but also turned those challenges into opportunities. The current geopolitical landscape has provided us an opportunity to reduce dependency on imports by developing indigenous capabilities. That means we are working towards indigenous technologies, and more precisely, indigenous defense technologies. The theme for this year's Air Force Day was IAF, Indian Air Force, Air Power Beyond Boundaries. air power beyond boundaries. Now, which the air chief said aptly that reflected the inherent global reach of air power and how air power will prove decisive in future conflicts. So, this is the first Air Force parade to be commanded by a women officer. Now, she is also the women officer of the IAF to command a combat unit. Now, the parade had an all-women contingent of newly inducted Agni-Veer Vayu personnels. So, if you have the idea of Agni-Veer, so they are talking about that. So, Agni-Veer Vayu personnels. The parade also included a flight for the Garud commandos. Then the air chief presented unit citation to 4 IAF units, that is 16 squadron leaders and 142 helicopter units, 901 signal units, etc. Explaining the new ensign, a statement said the IAF crest has the national symbol, the Ashoka line, on the top with words Satyamev Jayate. So this here comes very important word that IAF crest has the national symbol in it and the Ashoka line in it on the top with the words Satyamev Jayate. Satyamev Jayate in Devanagari below it. So below the Ashoka line is a Himalayan eagle with its wings spread, denoting the fighting qualities of the IAF is stated accordingly. So a ring in light blue color encircles the. Now, if you see the. So this is the symbol. This is your ensign. Now, what they are saying is that a ring in light blue color encircles the Himalayan eagle with the word Bharatiya Vayu Sena, and the motto of the IAF is inscribed below the Himalayan eagle in golden Devanagari. Fine. So, with respect to your prelims, this becomes very important. And what is that? That this ensign is carrying the symbol of what? So that should be known. What is that ensign? And what is this ensign carrying with it? This ensign is carrying what? IAF crest. Now this IAF crest has what? The national symbol. What is that? Ashoka lion. First is your Ashoka lion. The second thing they are saying is on the top with the word Satyamev Jayate. So Ashoka lion on the top with the word Satyamev Jayate. Satyamev Jayate in Devanagari. So this should be absolutely clear that this word, this is written in Devanagari. Below the Ashoka line is a Himalayan eagle with its wings spread, denoting the fighting qualities of Indian Air Force. So below Ashoka line is your eagle, and this eagle is how? This eagle is with its wings spread. Now, wing spread, what does it denote? The fighting qualities of IAF, Indian Air Force. Other than that, this Himalayan eagle, this Himalayan eagle is ensembled or encircled along a ring, and this ring is in blue color. Now, blue ring, and what does this blue ring says? This blue ring is talking about Bharatiya Vayu Sena. Bharatiya Vayu Sena, and the motto IAF is inscribed below the Himalayan eagle in golden Devanagari. So this motto of IAF is encircled or inscribed in Devanagari. Fine. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay. Now, if you see, GST Council clears a few measures to boost foreign trade. Like, so what are those measures that have been there for boosting foreign trade? So, amidst the sustained slump in India's export, the GST has cleared a few measures to boost foreign trade, including enabling tax credit for service exporters receiving payment in rupees, critical for trade with countries such as Iran and Russia that face global sanctions. Now, the government has been pushing for rupee-based trading arrangements. So the government has been prioritizing what rupee-based trading arrangements with several countries to reduce the dependence on US dollars. So in order to increase, the trade in the country, the rupee-based trade is being prioritized, and instead of US dollar. Now, the banks from over 20 nations have opened special INR Vostro accounts with the Indian banks to remit payments for their imports from India. However, many exporters of such service were being denied input tax credits under the GST regime, as the norms required foreign currency receipts to recognize the export status. So, one issue here is your input tax credits that the exporters or the the exporters or the service providers will be facing. Now, the council has recommended to issue a circular to clarify the admissibility of export remittances that is received in special INR Vostro accounts as permitted by RBI. For the purpose of consideration of supply of services to qualify as export of services under Integrated GST Act. Now, what are some disputes? There were disputes arising from refund applications where GST officers would seek to deny the benefits on ground that receipt of consideration in IANR. And what will be the purpose? The purpose of qualifying as exports of services, etc. So, what is happening now? What else relief they have been provided? So, separately, the council also decided to undo the effects, and what they are planning is that had made it difficult for the firms supplying goods and services to special economic zones to claim tax refunds. So, with the explicit inclusion of such supplies for rebate, Now, what they are considering is the ambiguity on this comes to a rest and helps prevent apprehended potential working capital concern for domestic industry engaged in special economic zone supply. So, the council has recommended issuance of a circular to clarify the place of supply treatment for services entailing transportation of goods in cases where the location of supplier or the location of recipient of services is outside India. So basically, they are facing issues with respect to what when they are supplying goods. Firstly, the issue is with respect to supplying the goods in the special economic zones. Now, when they are supplying the goods or services to special economic zones, what is happening is then there is issue in claiming what tax refunds. So that again is a challenge over there. Okay, let's move on to the next one. ISRO performs trajectory correction for Aditya L1 mission. Now, what was happening? The ISRO has performed a trajectory correction maneuver on Aditya L1 spacecraft. The space organization on Sunday said the maneuver has performed on October 6th and the spacecraft was in good condition. So, the spacecraft is healthy and on its way to Sun Earth L1, that is Lagrange point. So, a trajectory correction maneuver originally provision was performed on this day. The space agency said the maneuver was performed to correct the trajectory evaluated after tracking the trans-Lagrange point insertion. So if you see what is here there, see you have got these Lagrange points. Now where this mission is going to, this spacecraft is going to head to. So what is happening is that for that reason, it was needed to correct the trajectory evolution after tracking the Lagrange point. So TCM ensures that the spacecraft is on its intended path towards the halo orbits. Now the ISRO carried out the TL maneuver to send it towards the L1. Now L1 is about 1.5 million kilometers from Earth and the distance of L1 from Earth is approximately 1% of Earth's sun distance. India's first solar observatory mission, Aditya L1, was launched on September 2 by the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle from this Space Center, Harikota. Now, ISRO said that Aditya L1 continues to move ahead, the magnetometer payload will be returned. So, the magnetometer payload is developed at Laboratory for Electro-Optic System and is capable of measuring interplanetary magnetic fields at the L1 point. So Aditya L1 is expected to arrive at the L1 point by January. Fine, now let's move on to the next analysis. This is prey-based habitat dictate Asiatic wild dog tiger coexistence. Now, what is happening is, just a minute. Overlapping prey availability or habitat suitability could dictate a positive association between dhole and tigers, facilitating coexistence or even cooperative behaviors between the two species of carnivores. The dhole or Asiatic wild dog is the only endangered wild pack living canid in the tropical Indian forest and is considered at high risk of extinctions. Now, the study through camera traps by Urjit Bhatt and the Salvador's Lindog at Manas National Park in Assam. So, where is your Manas National Park? Assam. Also revealed that the diurnal activity of the dholes and the highest temporal overlap with leopards and the lowest with the clouded leopards. So what is happening is the two scientists are associated with the Department of Landscape Level Planning and Management at the Dehradun Institute of India. Their paper titled "Do Holes Segregate Themselves from Their Sympathetics?" So, what you need to do here is that you need to check the species that which is that species. Your species is your Asiatic wild dog tiger species. That means this species is your endangered wild pack living species. Okay, so now what is the population of these species? Operating in the packs of 5 to 10, larger groups of more than 30 were observed in 2004. Those were once widespread across southern and eastern Asia. Factors such as habitat loss, declining prey, availability, persecution, disease, interspecific competition have contributed to the ongoing fragmentation of its population. The global population of adult ghouls now classify as endangered on International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List. We aim to assess the relative abundance index, habitat use, and factors influencing ghoul coexistence with other sympathetic carnivorous in Manas National Park. So the hypothesis included conflict with humans on the periphery of protected areas as a primary threat to ghouls. Now what is happening is uh, our studies are finding what revealed a surprising positive relationship between ghoul habitat use and the tiger. Rejecting the habitat's exclusivity hypothesis, this unexpected result challenges the assumption of antagonist interactions between the two species, more complex ecological dynamics. So, what you need to know overall is what is the biological name of the species, whether it's endangered or extinct, you should know about it, which national park they are found in, etc. Fine. The next news coming over here is Supreme Court flags need for a dependable code of police investigation. The Supreme Court in recent judgment has highlighted the need for a consistent and dependable code of investigation to prevent lapses in police pro leading to the guilty getting acquitted on technical grounds. So, what is the news all about? So, the Supreme Court needs for a dependable code of police. That means what Supreme Court is wanting a code. And for what reason? For police investigations. That means on based on what code the investigation is done. So here what you need to do is you need to know about the Malamuth report, and the court took a page from the 2000 reports by Justice V.S. Malamuth Committee on the reforms of criminal justice system, which emphasize what that the successful prosecution of guilty depends on a thorough and careful search for truth and collection of evidence, which is both admissible and probative. So that means the evidence which is there, the collection of evidence should be such that it is admissible and probative. Okay, so this was for today. You can go through this news article also. Fine. So see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.